Hi everyone, it's Niamh here and welcome to my art journaling channel. Today we're going to be working in a different size for me. We're going to be working in the Dyalog system and doing some collage on black pages. So I don't work straight onto black very often, but I do occasionally, and when I do I really like it, so I should probably do a little bit more. I have bought a black journal since then, so I need to fill it up. So this is my inspiration to get back into it. So I'm starting off going into it by stenciling over this brick pattern from a darkroom door stencil using just some white acrylic paint, which I suppose kind of defeats the purpose in starting off in a black, except you get this lovely crisp contrast between the black and white. So once I've finished doing that, I'm just heat setting it a bit, so I've got my background to work with. Then I'm going through the collage sheets from Dyalog to find some images I wanted to use in my collage. So I'm cutting out a head, I'm cutting out some houses and some bits and pieces I can use as houses. I've got the little girl there. I'm cutting out some little mountainy type shapes as well, so I can use those as hills to put my houses on. So these collage sheets from Dyalog are amazing. They're lots of fun to use. They're particularly good for people who, you know, find it difficult. One, may not buy magazines that often. Two, don't want to have the time and effort of, you know, looking for quirky images in magazines. If you've got them there already to use, it's good to go. And they're just fun, basically. So at the time when this video was done, there was only two collage sheets collections, but Dyalog has just released another two collage collections which have more interesting shapes and so on in the background, so I'm really excited to get my hands on those two. They all work exactly the same way. So you can see I'm sort of planning out what I've got to do. I've got my little woman there, I've got some houses, but I need to put the houses on something. I want them to be sort of around the same height as her, so I'm creating some little hills for them to sit on. So one of the things about when you're doing sort of collage or magazine collage is the rules of, you know, life are still the same. You can't really have things floating in midair. You still need to ground them in some way. So it's really, really important when you're thinking about it, you know, how does it can still be quirky and weird and not make sense, but, you know, the laws of gravity still apply. So you can see here that I'm putting the houses on the hill. I've tucked the little hill in behind her, so it kind of makes sense. And I've got the little girl as well, and that sort of helps hide any flaws, I suppose, in it. So with collage, magazine collage, there is a lot of auditioning, sort of playing around with your cut images until you're happy. There's no right or wrong, but once you've cut them out, you've got that little bit of leeway to move them around. Once you've glued them down, they kind of need to stay put. So you do need to be confident with what you're doing before you glue them down. So once I've stuck down my background, now I'm going to stick down my girl. And I've decided to stick the other little girl over on the other side and create a little love heart for my bigger doll. So I've got that little repetition of red on the page. So I've got the red of the girl's dress, I've got the red of the heart, then I've got the red of the roof behind as well, which sort of forms a bit of a visual triangle. Once you've finished sticking everything down, then I'm going around with my Stabilo oil pencil to outline everything, and you can see how that sort of sharpens up everything on the page, makes it stand out a little bit. Now you can use a pencil like I'm using, or you can use a paint pen. Usually I actually use a paint pen, so it's quite unusual for me to use the Stabilo pencil. But what it does is it helps it pop out of the background and helps hide the cut edges as well, so it blends it into the background a little bit more. You can also get really creative with these images. Dyalog has obviously done her own alterations in these. If you look at them, you can see where she's used paint pens over the top to add different colours, add splotches. For example, that girl's dress was red, but she's got some green splotches that Dylusions have added on. You can continue to add your own effects using paint pens as well, which is really, really handy. And it's lots of fun. It's a great way to do something where you've got a guide that you can follow, and then you can sort of go on by itself. Someone's sort of holding your hand as you go along, so to speak. So you get confidence to, you know, put that star in the hat and add some extra green dots. You can see with the green dots down the bottom, they weren't bright enough, so I wanted to add in some extra. I've got some lines happening on the heels. I put some extra marks onto the hat at the top and around the height. So it gets a little bit addictive. You get a little, well, sorry, I keep saying you. I get a little bit carried away. I keep adding stuff because I just love it so much. You can see the little bit I cut off the hat, I've added onto the house, so the house has got a little hat now too. You know, just because you can. The final thing that I'm doing is doing some journaling on this page. So quite often when I'm doing magazine collage, I will have a quote in some way, shape or form, which the quote I used is from Dylusions, one of her sticker back quotes. And now I'm going in and doing some handwriting on the page that kind of reflects how that quote makes me feel. So you know, if the quote's about being creative in art, usually my handwriting, my journaling that I do next to it has something to do with that quote, why I've chosen to use it, or what that means to me, or how that makes me feel, or that sort of thing. I often find with my magazine collages too that they tend to be a little bit snarky. It's my way of, you know, getting my frustrations out, which again is a good mix with the Dylusions talkback stickers, because they tend to be a little bit snarky too, which I really love. I found with the journaling on this that because I was journaling sort of black onto the black and white, some of it disappeared into the background, which I didn't really mind all that much, because my journaling in the background isn't necessarily the focus. It's just to add extra texture into the background. But you can see in the close-ups how the magazine collage goes together, how that little bit of paint pen on it helps pop it out from the background. And here's a close-up of the finished page. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope you explore magazine collage a little bit more. Check out the Dylusions collage sheets. They're amazing, and now there's 4 packets that you can get your hands on, so it makes it even easier. Thank you for watching. Until next time, bye for now.